So now that I understand the meaning of the poem and Langston Hughes' attitude towards dreams, and we've determined that he feels that dreams are futile, and the pursuit of them is futile, we can also argue that Steinbeck feels the same way. And we're going to prove that with this quick write. So what I've done for you is I have formulated a topic sentence template that you can copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this here and eliminate that space. So I'm going to focus my argument that they're both demonstrating the futility of the American dream through the lens of one literary device. And I have to make sure that that literary device is present in both the poem and the novel. So let's look back at our TV Fast chart. We found questions, circular patterns, sentence fragments, similes, and personification. I really like the idea of using circular pattern. I think that makes the most sense, but I can definitely argue that there are similes in Of Mice and Men that you could use in your own example. Personification, definitely questions and fragments occur in the novel as well, but I'm going to focus for our time together today on circular pattern. So I'm going to fill in this topic sentence and say, Steinbeck and Hughes both demonstrate the futility of the American dream with their texts Of Mice and Men and A Dream Deferred through the use of circular pattern. Okay? As always, we're going to use proper paragraph structure. So now that I have my topic sentence formulated, I am going to continue and embed my first piece of evidence. And I'm going to take my first evidence from the poem. So to properly embed, I think I'm going to attribute for Langston Hughes in my embedding. So I'll say, this is demonstrated in the poem when Langston Hughes writes, comma, because remember we always use commas whenever we attribute our evidence. And now I'm going to go up to the top. And I'm actually, you know what, because Langston Hughes has used a circular pattern in the form of questions, I'm going to change the word writes to asks. And I'm going to copy this first example here. What happens to a dream deferred? And since I also want to include the other question, I'll say and or does it explode? And since I have questions, I'm going to include the question marks within my within my quote. And I'm going to not add a citation at the end because when you attribute, I've already given credit to the author here when I said Langston Hughes. So I don't need to do anything there. So now that I've included my CD, I need to incorporate my commentary. And within my commentary, I'm going to want to explain kind of what we discussed in the previous video, Poetry Analysis Part 1, is that a reader expects an author to answer the questions they pose. However, because Hughes chooses to end his poem the same way he began it, with a question, that question remains unanswered. The emphasis of the unanswered question leads the reader to believe that, like his question, dreams go unfulfilled. As well. So now I have my two sentences of commentary here. I want to now transition to my next piece of evidence, and I'm actually going to paraphrase my evidence so I don't even have to practice attribution, integration, or full in-sentence introduction with my quote. It's already going to be embedded into my own writing, but I do need to transition from one chunk to the other. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to say, in the same way, Steinbeck also employs circular pattern to emphasize the hopelessness. Notice I'm creating a variety of diction here, so I'm not repeating the same words over and over again. In the same way, Steinbeck also employs circular pattern to emphasize the hopelessness of the dream. He does this by having the novel start in the same location as the final chapter. In the final chapter, George is forced to kill his best friend. And simultaneously, he kills his own dreams by doing so. So what I did within my paraphrasing is I'm kind of breaking out of that formula of our paragraph where it's topic, sentence, CD, CM, CM, because notice here that all of this portion, I'm just going to highlight it temporarily, all of that is my concrete detail, okay? And here is actually where I begin my commentary, so I'm going to highlight that in a different color just so you can see the differences. So I'm still needing an additional sentence of commentary as well as a concluding sentence. So let's make sure we finish this paragraph. I really want to emphasize that circular pattern of mice and men's instance really emphasizes the fact that nothing changes. The beginning and the ending are the same, so there's no progress. So George's path ends up the same as it began. He is alone, and his dreams go unfulfilled. Now, I actually mentioned the word unfulfilled before, so I'm actually going to change this to unsatisfied. Or maybe even unachieved. I like that better. Because again, I want to diversify not only my sentence types, but my diction as well. And now I'm just left with my concluding sentence, and in the concluding sentence I want to wrap up the whole paragraph, but most importantly, I want to make sure that the reader can clearly see the connections I've made between the poem and the novel of Mice and Men. So I'm going to say both authors, Steinbeck and Hughes, believe the dream to be unachievable and not worth pursuing. Because of this, they both use circular pattern to emphasize their beliefs. Now notice actually I used two sentences in my concluding sentence, and that's okay, because again we're welcome to break out of the pattern as long as we're functioning our paragraph in an organized manner. So here's kind of what I came up with. Hopefully we're able to use our paragraph to formulate a different position with a different piece of figurative language other than circular pattern. But hopefully this is a good refresher on paragraph writing, and that you can emulate this on our final exam coming up in just a short amount of time. So get studying. Good luck.